Today I'm going to go into detail why you should join me on the Fire Vanney bandwagon for the good of the LA Galaxy. Canada thinks the Kings will look to Edmonton for a new GM, and USC loses a football recruit. One down, 4,999 to go. Good morning. I'm James. And this is your daily dose of sports and snark for the greatest sports city in the world, Los Angeles. This is the Faithful Angelenos Morning Report. It's May 10th, 2025. Welcome back to the Sanctum Sanctorum of LA Sports. Hey, do you like being in the know about LA Sports? Well, if you do, click-clack the like button. Click-clack the subscribe button. There's a notification bell. Hit that. It'll let you know when we drop new content. Sharing is caring. Let people know we exist. By all means, comment. Now, before we go through the news and notes, we have an expanded look at the scoreboard. Little bit of extra pizzazz. Dodgers 14, Arizona 11. The Dodgers rallied to win with 6 in the ninth, including a 3-run blast by Shohei Ohtani. And since we know they're going to win the NL West, they reduced their magic number to 124. Also, Angel City 2, Utah 0. Take a moment, if you believe in God as I do, and pray for Angel City defender Savi King, who collapsed on the pitch during the game and appeared to need chest compressions before she was taken to the hospital. Truly scary stuff. Now, Angel City reported King was responsive Friday night. Meanwhile, today, the Dodgers are at Arizona at 5, and it's Galaxy game day. They're going to be at New York Red Bulls at 4:30. What do you say we get to the news? And I want to start off with the Galaxy. Because, you see, if the club had any life at all, we would be talking about a rematch of last year's MLS Cup final. But the Galaxy have completely flatlined. The electroencephalograph is beep, and it is not good. If they do not win today, they will set an MLS record for the longest winless streak to open a season ever. In other words, the last time the Galaxy won an MLS match was for the Cup itself back in December against the Red Bulls. And what's particularly disturbing is nobody seems to have any answers. And that includes manager Greg Vanney, whose job it is to have answers. And I will say this, at least the answers that they're coming up with do not explain 0 wins. Because soccer reporters are a curious breed as well. You know, when a team has a run of bad form, as they call it, which translates to losing streak, the reporters will toss around words like unlucky, unfortunate. The LA Times actually used the word cursed. But the Galaxy are not cursed. Look, when I was a sports writer, multiple coaches and managers from other sports bottom-lined it for me. Your talent dictates what you do. And yet, Vanney continues to scheme as if this team is the exact same as it was last year. It isn't. And as a result of him not changing, as a result of him not going to a plan C, a plan D, etc., there is no acceptable answer from anyone as to why the Galaxy, the defending MLS Cup champions, after a third of the season, have 0 wins. You could give me any excuse. People on Twitter last week were trying to come up with excuses for me. And my response is still 0 wins. It's true that the team had to trade away players to get under the salary cap. Lovely point. 0 wins. It's true the notorious killer P's, Ricky Puig, Gabriel Peck, Joseph Paintsill, they won't play today. Paintsill has been out for 8 games. You know what? 0 wins. It's true that Puig was such an integral part of the offense that he touched the ball more than 500 times more than any other player in Major League Soccer. 0 wins. These are the counterpoints. Because you see, if the points that you make, that would explain why the Galaxy are struggling. That would explain the drop-off. Hell, even going into the season, we all agreed the Galaxy were going to struggle. But none of that stuff explains 0 wins. It doesn't explain why the Galaxy have allowed a league worst 21 goals, on pace for 63 allowed this year. When the roster is healthy, when the killer P's are on the pitch, Vanney can run his cherished 4-3-3 and it's beautiful soccer. They do not have the personnel to play beautiful soccer. They need to play like the ugly kid desperate for a prom date. And I would know what that's like because I was too ugly to go to prom. So when I say this about the Galaxy and about firing Greg Vanney, it's not out of hate for the guy. I don't hate him. But he's got to go. Even if the Galaxy had 2 wins, I would not be on the fire Vanney bandwagon. Despite the players who left, last week's loss, the Galaxy still started 9 players who played in the MLS Cup final. And yet they have 0 wins. You have to have more, and that is on Greg Vanney. Let me know, of course, what you think in the comments thread. Switching to the Kings, this report is about as likely to come true as a report about Trump making Canada the 51st state. But Sportsnet is the Canadian ESPN, and their hockey insider, Elliotte Friedman, is reporting that the Kings are looking at former Edmonton general manager Ken Holland for their GM vacancy. And I get the cliche. It sounds just lovely. You know, can't beat them, so you may as well get them to join you. Whatevs. Friedman did not make Holland sound like a likely candidate at all. Didn't make him sound like a front runner. What he said was, quote, if they go external, he may have a shot here, unquote. Yeah, and if I forget my wife on Mother's Day, she may forgive me, right? To Friedman, this is more about the Islanders and who they want as their GM. So I'm guessing what happened is Holland told Friedman that the Kings were kind of interested. That would generate a story and maybe pressure the Islanders to make a bid on the guy. That's how I'm reading it. It's just a guess, could be wrong. Because we've been saying this all along. Do not be surprised if the Kings simply promote someone in-house because that's the cheaper option. Holland would be considered an upgrade if he did come. Don't get me wrong. He spent more than 20 years in Detroit, and he built 3 Stanley Cup winners there. Then he spent 6 years in Edmonton, the last in 2024. His teams knocked off the Kings 3 consecutive times in the first round. The last team that he was part of up in Edmonton reached the Stanley Cup finals. And then curiously, his contract wasn't renewed, which is why he's available. But I wouldn't expect him in LA. There's a reason I wouldn't expect him in LA, by the way. The Athletic listed 13 possibilities to be the next Kings general manager. The Scribe listed these alleged candidates in alphabetical order. By the way, that means that the Scribe is just throwing names against the wall to see which one might stick. And you know one name that wasn't listed? Wait for it. Wait for it. Ken Holland. So I don't buy this story at all. It was just 2 days ago when we forecast the inevitability of USC football losing recruits from its top-ranked class of 2026. Maybe multiple recruits. And when it happens, it won't matter because the Trojans had 12 more pledges in this class than any other school in the nation. It's a ridiculous surplus of recruits. It's like if you had the best night of your life out at the club and every girl gave you her phone number, right? So when you hear about wide receiver Cohen Brown basically realized how much of a playa Lincoln Riley is, and then he backed off his commitment. In other words, the wide receiver has decided to decommit from USC. He's considered a 4-star recruit, and now he's looking elsewhere. So he goes to the social medias and he thanked us all for our continued support. Dude, you don't have our support. You don't. And it's because someone that you played high school ball with wants you to go to Notre Dame. No, we're not supporting that. The next time I support anyone at Notre Dame will be the first time I support anyone at Notre Dame. As far as I'm concerned, dude, if you go there, you can line up next to Rudy on the kickoff coverage unit. That's your call. Besides, another Trojans recruit basically told every other school to buzz off. He is not going to reopen his recruiting. He's going to stay with USC. And that would be offensive lineman Kini Pepe, who is massive. An offensive tackle, 325 pounds. The guy barely committed a week ago, and he's like, yeah, we ain't playing these games. I'm staying. And he is from Florida. And I realize that's a little sketch, considering how many players from Florida and Georgia last year committed to SC and pulled out. So you might be saying, why should we trust Pepe's word? Well, I can give you an answer for that. It's because his cousin, Kobe, plays on the Trojans' defensive line. So I think you should believe this guy. Former USC wide receiver Brew McCoy has retired from football. Now, he said it was due to medical reasons. He wasn't drafted, so I'm guessing the idea of playing in the UFL just made him ill. McCoy had this super awkward collegiate career. He was a 5-star recruit back in 2019. Unfortunately, that happened during the Clay Hilton era of unparalleled stupidity. So he didn't do much with the Trojans. Transfers to Texas, right? Then he doesn't like it in Tejas, comes back to USC. Then while he's at USC, there's allegations of domestic violence, which were dropped. And then he's like, you know what? Too much drama. I'm going to split to Tennessee. So USC, Texas, USC, Tennessee, and now he's out of football. He said he's looking forward to his next exciting opportunity. Let's just not put any of that stuff on your LinkedIn account, my dude. Just saying. Some dipwad, and make no mistake, this guy is a dipwad, for Sports Illustrated's website listed the top 5 landing spots for LeBron James if he opts out. You know what? Screw it. I'm going to name the dipwad. His name is Alex Kirschenbaum, and this dude is a bona fide purveyor of panic porn. First, I'm going to let you know this. James will opt out, just like last year, because he wanted more money. That's why. Secondly, after that happens, when he opts out, he's going to wind up staying with the Lakers just like last year. Why? Well, there's a couple of reasons I can think of. One, it's a package deal. He stayed with the Lakers so he could play ball with Bronny James. And two, if he decides to take a leave of the Lakers and go somewhere else, he's going to be taking a pay cut. If you stay with your team, you can get a bigger contract. If you leave, so you're trying to tell me that LeBron James is going to leave the Lakers and leave Luka Doncic just so he can play in Houston for less money and no longer see his son? Do you buy that? Exactly. So if you meet Alex Kirschenbaum, please advise him that it's super unmanly to try to engage people in emotional mind games. Just saying. Don't do it. It's not manly. Rookie minicamp opened with all 9 draft picks and 56 hopefuls participating for the Chargers. Now, there are 2 draft picks that didn't sign yet. The top 2 guys, running back Omari and Hampton, and wide receiver Trey Harris. Now, look, I could go through the minutia of who in this group of 56 has a chance to be a special teamer, but let's just stick with the stuff that matters. Jim Harbaugh said Zion Johnson and incumbent Bradley Bozeman have been taking snaps at center during the offseason. The 2 have been switching between center and left guard. Now, Harbaugh says he envisions Johnson definitely as a starter. But this is curious because Andre James, who is a former starting center for the Raiders, and he signed with the Bolts, he was not mentioned in this supposed 3-way battle to play center. But you let me know what you think in the comments thread. Talk to me if you're a Galaxy supporter. Are you Fire Vanney or not? For that matter, do you even remotely think the Kings are going to go to Canada or Edmonton for their new GM? If you enjoyed the content, don't forget to subscribe to Faithful Angelenos. We're talking LA sports every single day here. Thank you for watching. I'm James. We'll be back later today with a rapid recap of Galaxy soccer. Faithful Angelenos is a Kian Corta El Queso production. Take care.